in the Players' Lounge with Joe Perry, a player himself, but in a different role with Neil Robertson, potentially for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think we'll concentrate on the major events, I think, to start with, because obviously he's gone on record to say he's going back home for a little while after this tournament. So, yeah, we'll try out here and then we'll do the Masters and then go from there, hopefully. Yeah, it's a bit of success.
What do you think Neil needs from you now? Because he's certainly struggling for results.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just trusts me. You know, I was sort of there when he first came over in 2004. See him when he was like very raw, very young, and yeah, we built up a trust and a friendship. And he's always sort of done it on his own, but he's always been okay. He's always been going well. You know, it's sort of quite obvious. Things are not going as well as they normally do for Neil. So maybe just needs something different, just change it up a little bit. But yeah, nothing I can teach him. You know, he knows everything. He's won everything. It's just sometimes it's just rebuilding a little bit of belief, a bit of confidence.
And is that, do you think, what he has been lacking in this season?
Yeah. If you watch him practice, there's absolutely no difference whatsoever. You know, it's still frightening to watch him practice, and you try and work out how he loses. But obviously, when you go out there, a few things go wrong, a few demons come in, and a bit of negativity appears, and that's always been Neil's sort of Achilles heel, really. When he's not going well, he sort of just goes into his shell a little bit. So no one's been able to tell him, you know, until afterwards. So hopefully, if I'm here in the interval, I can sort of say to him, you know, sort it out, and it might help. Sure,
and I'm sure people will be at home thinking, well, hold on, if you got into one of the big events, you say you're just focusing on them, you're still a player. How would that work?
I'll just give him loads of bad information and try and beat him. Yeah. No, obviously, I'm still playing, you know, so we know the draws long before we turn up at a tournament. So if that's the case, then we'll just stay our separate ways until we might not even meet. Someone might get beat beforehand or something. But if it does happen, then we've played each other loads of times. It's not a big deal, really. We'll manage.
Listen, exciting times, and a good man, I think, to have in your corner. Gentleman, Joe Perry, thanks so much.
Cheers, Rach. Thank you.
They call him a gentleman for a reason. He really is a lovely guy. And Jimmy, in terms of being a duo, they're friends. They're both brilliant snooker players. They live close together. It seems like the perfect duo.
Yeah, like, no-brainer for me. You know, I think they worked a little bit before the World Championships, and he felt really good, Neil Robertson. But since then, they've not been working together. And Neil, has to be said, has had a terrible season for his standards. So he needs a good run in this competition. But Joe Perry was always the man for me, for him. A, they're friends. B, as you said, they live in Cambridge. And Joe's been there and done it.
Neil touched on it there. 3 times UK champion, Neil. A superb player in his own right.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of a question mark about his form this season.
Yeah, no, he's had a really bad run. And I think he's almost a victim of his own success, because 2 years ago, you know, he won so many events. He won the Players' Championship, the Tour Championship, runner-up to Ronnie in the World Grand Prix. Those events are coming up, the 2 years of those are coming up soon, and he's not likely to qualify for them. If he loses tonight, then he's in a lot of trouble, actually. I mean, thankfully, he's not still in the room, because I wouldn't almost want, although he knows it, he doesn't need to hear it from me either, that, you know, if he was to lose tonight, he's not going to play in Scotland. He said he's not going to play in the shootout. He's got nothing to play in until the new year, and he would very likely be out of the 16 for the World Championship to have to qualify. I mean, but, you know, I have faith in him. I think he's a really good player. And he's too good to be out of form for that long. And it's been too long already, you know.
And as we spoke about off air, it can all become good by going deep in this tournament.
Yeah.
But Jim, first he has to get past Zhou Yuelong.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been to 3... He's been runner-up a few times in finals.
I agree with Neil, though. You know, he's far too good a player, Neil Robertson, to not get it together. What he has got in his favour with Zhou Yuelong, Joe's never beaten him. And he's lost 9-0 to him, 6-1, 6-2. So he's had, you know, some good beatings off of Neil Robertson. So that is in Neil Robertson's favour. But as Neil said, he has to win tonight, Robertson, otherwise he's in trouble.
Let's find out if he does by handing to Rob Walker.
Good evening. We're approaching the halfway stage of this year's Mr. Q UK Championship, because by the end of tonight, Saturday's starting lineup of 32 will be down to just 16. 5 top seeds have tumbled, 6 former champions have made it through. Time to find out which of the 2 players waiting at the top of the stairs will be joining the best of the rest here at the world-famous Barbican Theatre. Please welcome one of the fastest players on tour. Shootout winner in 2019. He beat three-time ranking event winner Ricky Walden to book a second appearance in the last 32 of the UK champs. He is snooker's F1 from Thailand, Thepchaya Anu.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need that mind, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time. I wanna trust my life.
And his opponent, a player making his 10th appearance in the last 32 of the UK champs, 27 years after his first. Quarter-finalist in 02, he is the reigning Welsh Open champion. He's a cider drinker, but we call him the milkman, Robert Milkins. On table one, here comes a three-time ranking event finalist. Semis of the UK in Milton Keynes. Twice he's made the last 16 here in York. Quarter-finalist of this season's English Open. He's China's jumping dragon, Zhou Yuelong. Finally, to a player who completed snooker's Triple Crown here in York 10 years ago. That was the first of his 3 UK crowns. Winner of 23 ranking titles in total since his arrival from Australia almost 2 decades ago. Can you hear the thunder from down under? Here's Neil Robertson.
It's got to be the best nickname in the game, the Thunder from Down Under. If you want to watch the Milkman and Thepchaya, you can do so on Discovery+. As for us in Eurosport, we'll be focused on Neil Robertson and Zhou Yuelong, so we can hand to our commentary team of Alan McManus and Phil Studd.
Just 2 more spots to fill to complete the second round lineup, the round of 16 here at the Barbican at the UK Championship. And can Neil Robertson recapture former glories after a tough start to the season? He's looking to preserve his outstanding record of having won at least one professional event every calendar year since he claimed his first ranking title way back in 2006, the Welsh Open. In order to do it, he's got to win the UK Championship for a 4th time.
Could you on that side turn down your radios a little bit, because they're too loud? Yeah, thank you.
We're ready to go.
Thank you. The first frame.
Neil Robertson against Zhou Yuelong for a place in round 2. And it's the 3-time winner who will get us underway. And it's going to be fascinating, Alan, to see, after a rocky season, if Robertson can recapture the form for which he is famed.
Yes, absolutely. Good evening to all. A match that everyone in the snooker world and everyone watching on TV around the world is get so much interest in, because the fact that Neil Robertson has had his struggles the last year and a half or so. You say, can he recapture something like his best form?
As Jimmy has just been discussing in the studio, one of the key elements to this evening's match is the psychological hurdle that Zhou is going to have to overcome. He's not just lost 3 times out of 3 to Robertson, he's lost extremely heavily. In fact, the aggregate frame score over those 3 matches is 21-3 in Robertson's favour, including, of course, that record-equalling whitewash in a 2-session final at the European Masters back in 2020. So that clearly plays in Robertson's favour this evening. And for Zhou, he's got to block that out and just concentrate on his own game, which is very good at its best. And he'll be aware that Robertson has struggled this season, so that might encourage him. Just 4 victories in ranking events for the Melbourne man so far this season. And he hasn't been past the round of 64 in any event. Of course, he's seeded through to the 32 here. But provisionally, as regards the end of season rankings, he's down at 29. On the 1-year list, he's down at 70. And of course, you've got to be in the top 32 to get into the World Grand Prix, the cut-off for which is the Scottish Open, which we know Robertson isn't playing in because he's heading back to Melbourne with his wife and family after this tournament. So he's going to have to do something special here to kickstart his season. The motivation is there. Joe Perry has mentioned that his form on the practice table is as good as ever. It's about reproducing it now when it matters in the match environment.
Yeah, terrific settling pot. There was some hesitancy. He took his time before deciding to pull the trigger, so more than pleased with that. There's no question that he's going to come good at some stage. He's too good not to. As we heard from Joe Perry, he sees him up close week in, week out. And no reason to disbelieve Joe when he says that the old form is still there on the practice table. So it will happen eventually. It's just a question of when.
And with that in mind, it's got to help to return to a tournament where you've enjoyed some of your finest moments. 3 times
14.
a winner, of course. 2013 against Selby.
15.
2 years later against Liang Wenbo when he made a maximum break in the final. And then, of course, that epic battle behind closed doors in Milton Keynes during COVID against Judd Trump when he won on the final pink. Aggressive shot into the bunch. Cue ball could have landed in a slightly more kindly
22.
position. Yeah, it wasn't easy. Never is when you're queuing close to the side cushion. So just 22. Zhou Yuelong, I reckon, must be considered one of the best players yet to win a ranking title. As mentioned in the studio, 3 times he's been a finalist, including that one he'd rather forget against Robertson, European Masters. But he's a very talented player. Signalled that talent very early. He won the World Amateur title when he was just 15. And of course, was part of a winning World Cup team for China. He too has a decent pedigree in this event. Semi-finalist when he lost to Robertson, 2020.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, it was a nice opening red from Zhou, and the sort of chance you can definitely get on board with early in a match.
15. Sixteen.
Zhou made the final in Belfast last season, of course, at the Northern Ireland Open. And he was looking good at one stage against Mark Allen. He was 4-1 up, but that was as good as it got for him. He lost 8 on the bounce.
24.
But he beat Sean Murphy, Dave Gilbert, Anthony McGill along the way. His best run this season, the quarterfinals of the English Open, where he lost to eventual runner-up Zhang Anda, who of course went on to win the International Championship. And he's already battle-hardened coming into this evening's match. He beat Hamid Meyer 6-4 from 4-2 down in the qualifiers, and then Ian Burns 6-5 from 2 down with 3 to play.
32.
So that should stand him in good stead this evening. He's already come through 2 very tough matches, shown his mettle to overturn deficits.
$39.
Yeah, just marginally lost his cue ball. Good news, he's nothing to do with the cue ball positionally on this, so get the pot. Very nice.
40.
Very cultured player. Zhou Yuelong, something of a throwback. Now this is going to be awkward. Very awkward indeed. Yeah, the pink spoiling position, just didn't
46.
get the grab on it. Once again though, if he gets the pot, he'll be okay, but self-inflicted pressure on this one. And he's not the tallest player in the circuit, let's say, so usually more awkward than most players. Certainly Neil would have an easier job with this. Perfect view of it. Oh, nicely played.
47. 53.
Given his poor record against Robertson, a good start this evening. Imperative for Zhou Yuelong to build some confidence, to exercise a few demons.
54.
So much of this game is played in the mind. Joe Perry was making that point about Robertson's recent form, that it's not necessarily anything technical. His game isn't any different, but when you lose a bit of confidence, you can start to second guess your tactics. Look for problems that maybe aren't there, and you can be sure if you start looking for them in this game, they'll present themselves. So, frame of mind, absolutely vital.
Yeah, did well there.
60.
Credit to the table fitters. The bedcloths are beautiful here this week. You wouldn't have been able to get the cue ball across in under some conditions. So looks set to get frame one.
61.
And the ready negotiated when he was badly hampered by the pink was a feature of this break. Made what would have been a routine shot very tricky, but he negotiated it superbly.
68.
To leave Robertson needing a snooker to tie.
$69. $74. $75.
Yeah, again, noticeable that just off straight you're able to work
79.
that cue ball. Something that Neil will obviously be able to take advantage of when he gets his chances. The good thing about conditions being this way is that
80.
it's so dangerous. Anytime you give your opponent any sort of chance, it's been the feature of this week so far. The scoring has been superb. Not masses of centuries, but 70, 80 breaks galore.
Zhou Yuelong, 80.
No century, but that was a culture break of 80 from Zhou Yuelong. Neil Robertson missed a tricky red from the side rail and was punished to the full. Zhou Yuelong takes the opener in style. He leads the former champion 3 times. Just the start that Zhou Yuelong wanted. Only the 4th frame he's won against Neil Robertson in this, their 4th meeting, and he won it in style. A break of 80 after Robertson had got in initially.
Thank you. The 2nd frame.
Lost prime
Zhou Yuelong's
position,
break.
missed a red, and spent the rest of the frame in his chair. So Zhou 1-0 to the good. 6, of course, is the target. The prize for the winner, a meeting with John Higgins, who came through in a very high-quality match earlier against Joe O'Connor of Leicester by 6 frames to 3. Well, that's trademark Robertson, arguably the greatest long potter in the game's history. Many of the best players in the world believe that to be the case because of his superb cue action, and that should give him a boost of confidence.
Yeah, crunching long red now. Does he have eyes for the pack? Probably with, well, I was thinking because where the black is, it's going to be difficult to build this, but of course he's got ultimate confidence in his ability for top side of the blue and go in that way.
5.
Here we go then, one of the very best at this type of shot. Cue ball spinning off the left cushion, hopefully. There you go, almost hit it too well. Not too bad though.
10.
It's bizarre to see Robertson has made just 8 centuries this season. That's partly, of course, because he's not played all that many matches. He's been going out early
17.
in most of the tournaments he's been playing in. He was the first man to make 100 in a single season. That was the season when he won his first UK title back in 2013. Last season he made 3 semi-finals in the home nations, but you have to go back to the Tour Championship in March of last year. For the last time he added to his 23 ranking title tally. And that was a remarkable win, of course, because he was 5 down with 6 to play against the aforementioned John Higgins and managed to come through. But it's a long time indeed for Robertson to be without silverware.
23.
Yeah, so third time of asking, trying to disturb the pink, and it's gone wrong again. Although that might be
28.
Quite a nice leave, a bonus, because he knew nothing about this red. Tried to disturb pink. There's certainly nothing the way, excuse me, wrong with the way he's striking the ball. It looks as good as ever.
29.
So the key shot, a wee bit thinner, and it looks on the screen there. We'll maybe get to see that from the floor camera. Not a certainty. Yeah, I'm not even playing it.
Here, Robertson, 29.
Clearly get the red, but again, some hesitancy. Sort of shot he'd normally be taking on. Played it nicely, but he's offered it up to Zhou Yuelong if he wants to play it. Doesn't have any other appealing options, to be honest. I think Zhou Yuelong got to take this red on. And there you go, if you don't strike first, there's someone at your back willing to take that chance. And how is he on the green? He's okay. Must admit, I was more than a bit surprised that Neil didn't play it initially.
And you've got to think that that's something to do with the season he's had so far, which has robbed him of some of the old confidence and unshakable self-belief. It doesn't matter how good you are at this game, and Robertson's one of the modern greats. When you're short of victories, some of that confidence can ebb away, and shots that you would previously have taken on without any thought at all suddenly become more of an issue.
Five. Six. 12. Thirteen. Nineteen. $20. $26. $27. 34.
Not just a great technician, Zhou Yuelong, he's also well versed in the kind of pattern you want to take these three reds potentially. That red along the end cushion after the open one should offer him a nice angle to either drop in behind the red or lift it. That's the plan.
42. 43.
The other thing, if he decides to drop in behind it, he would only need the red.
50.
Yeah, he's overcut it. From the moment he struck it, it looked as though it was heading to the far jaw. And that is a reprieve for Robertson that is most welcome. Certainly would have hurt the 3-times champion if he'd cleared up from a long red that Robertson refused, but not to be.
Yes, Anthony McGill missed one the very same way this afternoon to that far jaw.
As did Joe O'Connor at a key moment against John Higgins when O'Connor was on a break of 60, poised to go 2-1 up. Higgins produced one of his trademark clearances of 66, which turned the match his way. And Robertson couldn't have played that any better. And how important is that misread going to be? Very early in the evening. But Zhou had a chance there for 2-0. And now Robertson has a great chance for one each.
9. 14. 16.
Leads up to the pink.
19. 23. 28.
'Yes, it feels like quite a significant moment that, as Robertson just gives a little shake of his cue. He knows how important that clearance was. It was looking like Zhou might go 2-0 up there, but he missed a red, and Robertson's levelled at one each. Had the chance there to really turn the screw, keep the pressure on Robertson, who's out of form. It's one each. Robertson to get us underway in frame 3. As mentioned, he'll be missing the remaining tournaments this season, or rather this year, the shootout and the Scottish Open, the third leg of the home nations, because he's going back to Australia for the first time, in fact, since COVID. I think he's been a little homesick, Robertson. Maybe feels that returning to his homeland, will just recharge the batteries ahead of a big push for the second half of the season in the new year. He'd love to sign off with something memorable this week in York.
Yeah, missed that by a long way on these bedcloths, playing that with a natural trace of right hands, just off centre. The right striking, pushed the cue ball way too thick.
One.
It's lovely as a player when you get a flick like that. You feel like it makes the... Well, I know it's potential, but the next 24, 32 points almost certain. If this red goes in, it should be.
7.
Very important shot this, not even just the pot, the cue ball. If he can get nicely on the black, that'll be worth plenty.
Eight. $15. 16. 23. 24. 31. 32.
That one, admittedly,
39.
key miss aside in the previous frame, read along the rail, which allowed Robertson in for the frame-winning 50. He's looked very sharp, Zhou Yuelong. He's only missed one other ball of no consequence at the end of the 80 break in the first frame. Certainly looks up for this evening. Could be forgiven for feeling a little intimidated
40.
by his opponent, even allowing for Robertson's recent struggles, given the lopsided head-to-head and the fact that the matches have always been won emphatically by Robertson in the past between them, but no signs of that at the moment.
That was a better shot than it looked. He held the spin off it
45.
to keep it down that right side of the table. So well set now. He does, he looks in terrific touch.
46. $53.
I'm sure Neil does accept this,
54.
but it's a fact that pretty much everyone in the top 50 or whatever it is in the world are fantastic scorers. But we know Neil is, of course, one of the best there's ever been, but you have to accept that these days so many of them can do that on any given day.
61.
Not saying he doesn't accept it, he does, but you know, that's where you've got to double down on your safety game and all that goes with that. Every single chance you get these days
62.
is so important.
Zhou's closing in on 200 career centuries. He's on 195. He's made 23 already this season.
$67. $68.
So, with only 67 left, another colour should secure the frame for sure for Zhou, and this is impressive stuff so far. The ready miss was far from a gimme in the previous frame, and Robertson did well to hold his nerve to clear up, but Zhou was able to punish
74.
the misread from Robertson in the first frame, and he's punished the error on the long-range red in this one.
Thank you. 75.
Yeah, I remember a quote by Neil a few years ago talking about, or touching on Stephen Hendry and his pomp in the 90s. He suggested that, and I think he was correct, that Stephen back then would frighten players into missing, and he would open them up as quickly as
82.
possible, but he could do that because the standard wasn't as good overall. And yeah, players would have been frightened of playing some of the greats, Stephen being the greatest of that time. But no longer. That doesn't apply on the tour anymore. No one's frightened. There used to be talk of that
83.
a few years ago. Oh, he'll be too scared to play it. Nothing could be further from the truth. No players are frightened these days of scoring heavily. Least of all Zhou Yuelong. Terrific little player he is, and he's playing beautifully here.
$90. $91.
Let's hope it can end in a big century. Oh, terrific shot. Be good. Unlucky. Double will do. Another sign of
98.
terrific accuracy, the cannon.
The crowd enjoyed that, right in the middle. And there it is. Century number 24 this season. He is cueing quite superbly.
102.
And any suggestions that he might have been scarred by previous heavy losses at the hands of Neil Robertson being scotched here
403.
He's eyeing a bit of revenge.
$407.
Yeah, I remember actually playing Zhou Yuelong when he was a wild card out in China. I can't remember
409.
exactly where. It was, I don't know, probably 8 years ago, something like that. He was still amateur. And within a frame and a half, I said, oh yeah, he's going to be a proper player. I mean, he was then.
412.
But you just knew he had got that touch, that guile. He's also a terrific tactician. He was pushing me around, no problem. Back then.
416.
And he's sending a message this evening to Robertson that if you make a mistake, I'm ready to punish with something big.
421.
That, of course, increases the pressure on the 3-times champion. This has been immaculate stuff from Zhou
427.
Yuelong. Wonderful. A total clearance of 134 after Neil Robertson missed a long red by a margin and paid the price by spending the rest of frame 3 in his chair as Zhou Yuelong retakes the lead at 2 frames to 1.
Thank you. Frame 4. Zhou Yuelong to break.
That magnificent trophy is what it's all about come Sunday evening. Neil Robertson knows what it's like to lift it. He's done it 3 times, but he's not been in that sort of form this season by any stretch, and he's been put under a lot of pressure already tonight by the quality of Zhou Yuelong's play. 80 in the first frame and 134 total clearance just now to move 2-1 in front. Robertson has lost in the first round in the past 2 years in this event. 6-2 to John Astley, 2021, and last year to the man who's now taking up a coaching, mentoring style role, his very good friend Joe Perry.
This is a decent chance, certainly in the evidence of what we've seen. Cue ball through the gap, black waiting. Oh, now the red's going to be left. Now, Neil, here's a chance that you have to take, and a good one. It was nice to get that little bit of help from your opponent. Neil missed the long red in the previous frame to the other corner. Same thing again. Can he repay the compliment by scoring heavily?
1.
A couple of seasons ago when Robertson was
8.
winning multiple ranking titles, a second Masters. This would already have been a foregone conclusion. Big break. End of story, but as we've mentioned already, in terms of confidence, it's not quite there at the moment in the way it has been in the past.
Nine.
He's very aware of his record of having won at least one pro title every year since 2006, and of course would love to preserve it. Equally, he knows that realistically can't go on forever. He's just looking to regain some of that old swagger.
16.
And he's that good that if he does get a couple of wins under his belt here, then he could very quickly
17.
recapture that confidence. But clearly, given the way Zhou Yuelong's queuing this evening, he's going to have to play very well to win.
$22.
Yeah, it's clearly nothing wrong with his game, nothing wrong with his ball striking, but it's always been the case that when you're feeling a bit off colour, the best medicine there is winning matches, end the story, and regardless of how you win them. That's all it takes, is 2 or 3 wins, and the shoulders then start to loosen, the cue goes through that bit smoother, and everything's rosy in the garden once again. It'll happen, as I said before, it's just a question of when.
28.
At the moment he's playing with a degree of caution, which is understandable.
$29.
And because he's such a fluent player, once you start looking around and trying to be too careful, then it doesn't work. You see here, deliberating around and having a look at what are all of my options, which again I can understand, but it's just the fact that he hasn't been winning matches, that's all it is. So the hard work starts here.
36. $37. $43.
Very nice. That looks like being a frame winner.
$51. 52. $59. $60.
What a session of snooker this has been. Both players
65.
queuing very nicely.
66.
And already Robertson is at frame ball. And yes, it did look like an inviting table, but you still got to pot them, and
71.
given his recent travails, this has been impressive, just as the 50 clearance to the pink was to level. And it looked as though Zhou might go 2-0 up.
$72.
And now all of his efforts will be invested in making a century. He has a Hendry-esque like hunger for them, and he gets cross if he doesn't make one, even though obviously the frame is well and truly won.
79. $80. $86.
And now that old
87.
fluency and the pace at which he's going about his business here is returning. These are encouraging signs for Robertson. And he's having to play this well because his opponent is matching him and asking the question tonight in a way that he's not been able to in their previous 3 meetings, which have been a stroll for this man.
94.
At the moment, they're bringing out the best in one another. Century number 907, just his 9th this season.
100. $101.
Both players with a 96% pot success.
$108. $110. $113. $117. $122.
And suddenly the game looks easy again for Neil Robertson. What a break. 135 to follow the 134 from Zhou Yuelong. What a whirlwind 4 frames that was. This Barbican crowd being royally entertained. Can't wait for the second half of the match. Both players queuing superbly. Neil Robertson beginning to look like he's getting back to his best. He's had to play that well. It's 2 frames all of the break.
Well, the snooker this evening has been of the highest possible order. It has seen the world number 6 take on the world number 26. It's Australia versus China, with Neil Robertson facing Zhou Yuelong. We've seen 2 centuries in 4 frames, an absolutely class battle so far, and it is perfectly poised to continue after the mid-session interval. There were questions about the form Neil Robertson will be bringing into this one, there's no doubt about that. There were questions over Zhou Yuelong as well, no question about that either. The answer we do have is that we want to carry on watching it. On the other table, it is 2 frames in it. Tepchai, the fastest player on tour, currently leading the 2023 Welsh Open winner, Robert Milkins. But Jimmy, as for the match that we were focusing on, Neil Robertson, it's been absolutely fantastic.
It's been top draw stuff. Neil Robertson's very first frame, he's on 20-odd, went into the pack, didn't get on a red, split them all open, missed a red by the green. Zhou Yuelong got in and made an 80, settled him down. Neil Robertson responded by clearing up to make it 1 each. Zhou Yuelong's had a 130-odd, then Neil Robertson's had a 130-odd. Absolutely fantastic snooker. Amazing overview. Let's break it down and put some flesh on the bones here. Frame 1, it was all about misses, Neil, and Jimmy rather, and taking opportunities when they had them. Yeah, this red that he misses by the green, he's unlucky there because he's gone into the pack. The reds have gone everywhere. That's really a difficult shot. And it just shows that where Neil Robertson is not that confident at the moment, he's missed that. Zhou Yuelong here is quite a difficult shot. Straight in the heart of the pocket. Goes on to make 80, settled him down 1-0 up. Don't forget, he's played Neil Robertson 3 or 4 times, only won 3 or 4 frames. So, he's had some lots of beatings from Robertson, shall we say. But to settle himself down with the 80 there, a fantastic break, 1-0 up. So Robertson then levels it in frame 2, and as far as frame 3, what a break that was from Zhou. Yeah, it was. It was a fantastic. There was sort of a red that Robertson missed, which he normally would get, and he missed it by quite a distance. Because he missed it by a distance, it went in, careered into all the other reds, split them all open nice, and left Zhou Yuelong in a nice potting position. Neil Robertson normally pots them long shots, so we haven't seen that side of his game yet. Zhou goes on to make a 1-3-4 total clearance. Deservedly so, being 2-1 up. Double there just to finish to make the century. And then Robert then basically answers the question, Jim, by going, anything you can do, I can do better. Absolutely, I think Robertson is playing well. I think he's focused, but he's got a match on his hands because Zhou is standing up to everything he's given him. He really is, and in terms of Neil, I mean, we know he's an incredible break builder, one of the most number of centuries amassed of any player in history, and we saw it again. Yeah, this long red that Zhou Yuelong plays here, he's actually playing to pot the red. If he misses it, the cue ball's gone safe on the side cushion. Because he missed it by so far and hit it so hard, this red comes down, an easy starter for Neil Robertson. And look where the balls are. He's going to get 40 or 50 before he gets in trouble. Opens them up there straight away with a pack, which these top players do, and goes on to clear the table. Brilliant break. In a funny way, Jim, are both players feeling hard done by? Is there a sense that I've played phenomenally well, but I'm still now level with my opponents? Not at all, because, at this level, that's going to happen. It comes down to the one who makes the least mistakes is going to lose the match. But with Neil Robertson, where he's such a good player and a good scorer, and, when you're playing up Neil Robertson, John Higgins, Mark Selby, O'Sullivan, you're sort of on the back foot. But Zhou Yuelong has settled in straight away. 2 each is a fair score. So I think they'll both be happy with their game. It has been a brilliant match so far. Has there been any clue for you whatsoever that this could go one way or the other? No, as it is at the moment, I think it's going to go really close. Obviously, Neil Robertson needs to win to get his season started. One of the best matches we've seen so far, and it's going to be continuing very shortly after the break. Both men back on the bays, and this one is not to be missed, so don't move a muscle.
It's been terrific so far. Both players have looked extremely good in amongst the balls. Neil Robertson twice coming from behind to level up, including that sparkling 1-3-5 total clearance to best Zhou's 1-3-4 in the previous frame. So the standard is sky high, and it's now home nations territory. Best of 7, first to 4 from here for a place in the round of 16 and a showdown with John Higgins, conqueror earlier of Joe O'Connor by 6 frames to 3. These players in the bottom section of the draw, where Ronnie O'Sullivan resides. He won 6-2 against Anthony McGill earlier from 2-0 behind. And Rob Milkins has just made a century on table 2 to pull it back to 3-2 with Tepchire and Nu, the odd frame in front. That match has also been of a very high standard. You can watch it on Discovery Plus. The second round lineup will be completed this evening. And it's a big evening for Neil Robertson because he needs points badly. A lot of them, if he's to get into the World Grand Prix in the new year, given that this is his last tournament of 2023. He's heading back to Melbourne for a break at the end of this, whatever happens. So we won't see him again on the table until the Masters. But of course, that is non-ranking. Just 4 victories in ranking tournaments so far for Robertson this season, and no more than 1 in any given tournament. And he's probably, Alan, played better tonight than he has at any time, certainly in a ranking event so far this season.
Yeah, he's looked very good indeed. The only problem is, so is his opponent. But yeah, it's been a terrific match, and good to see Zhou Yuelong play this nicely. We know he's got the quality. He's had it for many a year now. Going along nicely in the World Grand Prix rankings himself at 21st in running. So having a good season, Zhou Yuelong.
Yeah, Robertson did make the semi-finals of the Invitational Shanghai Masters, where he lost to Luca Brissell, but that's about the only cheer for him so far during this campaign. But of course, form is temporary, class is permanent. He's won this on 3 occasions.
Touching ball.
He's won 6 Triple Crowns in all.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying with Desislava Bozhilova that it is touching, so he can play away from the Reds.
Slowly developing into a frame that no player enjoys. Red's heading towards the bulk end. You just feel as a player that with this type of frame, eventually if you give your opponent a chance, you're leaving them too easy an opportunity. That's why they don't enjoy it. just a few inches shy of pace. Zhou Yuelong having a look at the cut back. It's clearly on. It's one of those shots obviously you're thinking about the cue ball, the most important ball on the table, but on this occasion he's got to do his best to forget about it, because whatever will be, will be. Get the pot. And at least then you're still in control.
One.
That is a very welcome kiss for Zhou Yuelong. Let's say for that man. Look for sure that the break was ending at 1 there. Not now. Right behind the pink.
Yeah, but he was fortunate, worth seeing again, but he did the right thing. Make sure the pot. He had no control over the rest of it.
Could be a very significant little flick, that. Given the way Zhou's been queuing this evening.
Eight. $13.
Yeah, no, that's a blunder. Still got 1, 2, right middle. Again, one of those ones with self-inflicted pressure attached to the red. Shouldn't have had anything this difficult.
He's done well there, hasn't he? Because that shot was made even trickier by the fact that he played it in the knowledge that it should have been easier. But he was able to regroup. That just underlines the standard from both this evening. Very little missed of consequence.
16.
And whenever there has been a mistake, it's been punished royally.
17. $23. 24.
It's good that he's left that red up
30.
near the baulk line. Just on the off chance he plays on blue and finishes short at some stage.
31.
Yeah, that was a little clumsy to leave this straight black now. Even if he gets perfect on the next red, it's doubtful whether he's going to keep the break going. Played it nicely, but yeah, here's the somewhat key shot, but never certain.
38. $39.
And there you go, that's why. If he's not on the black, then it's a major blunder. Still looks, yeah, just okay. So he's dodged one there, for sure, if he's on it.
He's having a good old look, but it seems that he's convinced himself it's on. No problem.
$46.
Asking for the long rest. Zhou Yuelong is based at the Q House Academy in Darlington. Wonderful facility. Oh, hang on. No, that was always bound for the jaw. So having seemingly negotiated
Zhou Yuelong, 46.
the problem just now in slotting in the black that he might have not been able to get to, he misses the red. A relatively straightforward one with the rest. And that's a lead off for Robertson.
It was a smart shot, that. He was always bound to be on this one, and it's I read that although it was over the pocket, I wanted it away from there as quickly as possible.
12.
Oh, that was a kick. That was a bad
You're
contact. You could see it. The red just left the bed on contact. I'm certain it was. Let's see. It was one of those, it sort of skidded on. Give him the benefit there. I know we sometimes sound like we're making excuses, but I did think that was a just marginally dodgy contact. Anyway, the chance returns to Zhou Yuelong. Can he punish now?
One. Six.
It's been a terrific match, this. It may well be the case we go all the way to the wire with no more than a frame in it. It'd be very interesting if and when a player gets two in front to see the reaction from the other. And I suppose even more intriguing if it were ever to go 4-2 or obviously 5-3 to Zhou Yuelong, because Neil then would be under heaps of pressure.
12. $13. $18.
Zhou Yuelong will be delighted because he would have been certainly disappointed to miss with the rest just now. He would have expected to make that pot. It's not proved expensive.
19.
This frame surely done and dusted. 53 in it, 43 left. And we've seen
26.
Wonderful break building from both players so far, but these frames feel even more significant.
27.
Frame that Robertson might have won had he not missed the red just now into the left centre pocket. In a tight match, frames like this can be the difference.
34. 35. 40. 42. 45. 49. 54. 60.
'Nicely done. A clearance of 67 from Zhou Yuelong, the former UK semi-finalist, takes the lead for the third time this evening after Neil Robertson missed a red to the left centre pocket. Zhou leading 3-2. Zhou Yuelong back in front, 3-2, halfway to a place in round 2 and a meeting with John Higgins. Was a very long way off. He actually hit the wrong side of the red there, Robertson. Happily for him, no damage done.
Yeah, good reason to be fearful of the Reds out in the open, playing this safety shot. Must get a good cue ball. Neil having a go at one of them.
Good cue ball from Zhou, keeping the pressure on. Robertson has been in this boat before when trying to preserve this wonderful record of his of having won at least one tournament every year since '06. Back in 2016, he'd actually slipped out of the top 16. His form had deserted him, turned up and won the Scottish Open. But of course, he won't be taking part in that tournament this year because he's heading back to Australia. So this is his last chance to keep that remarkable record going. Perhaps more importantly, just to recapture some of the old confidence, and a win this evening against a very much informed Zhou Yuelong would certainly go a long way to helping in that regard. He's got a great record in the Players Series events. He's won 2 Tour Championships. He's also won the Players and the World Grand Prix, none of which at the moment he's likely to play in unless he goes deep this week.
Yes, on his quest to get a seeding for the Crucible, Neil, at the moment, he's over 100,000 points behind that bubble, and that actually, what that will equate to, I mean, that's a rough estimate, but between now and the end of the season, he's going to have to get something like 100 and maybe 40,000. That's before the World Championship, to gain a seeding and not have to go to qualifying, because everyone else is going to gain points, of course, and if he's not in any of the Players' Series, then it's really serious. It would mean he would have to win, well, at least win, and maybe win a couple of them, or when one gets to a final of the German Open, the Welsh Open, or the World Open out in China. Or get to the final here, and that would probably take care of a Crucible seeding.
Foul. No miss. Zhou Yuelong, 4.
And in order to do that, he's going to have to do it the hard way, because if he does come through this evening, and that's a big if at the moment, he'll have John Higgins next. Ronnie O'Sullivan is in his section of the draw as well. Very nicely cued from Zhou. He's making very few mistakes.
Yep.
He's already won as many frames in this match as he managed in the previous 3 meetings between them. Mentioned that he based himself up in Darlington in the north of England at the Q House Academy because he felt that there'd be less distractions there. He said that in the past maybe he didn't work at his game as hard as he might have done, but he's very dedicated to his preparation these days, and he's been knocking on the door. That final of the European Masters against Robertson, which obviously didn't go to plan, but got back to a title match in Belfast last season. He certainly has the game to be a ranking event winner.
16.
But it's so difficult these days. Ask Jack Lazowski. All the talent in the world, but still no trophy to go with it.
17.
Going into the reds. It's a brilliant shot. Not perfect, but he's okay.
24.
Of the two, as far as looking secure in all departments, it's Zhou Yuelong.
$25.
Pot success of 96%, and that's, if anything, a modest appraisal, because a couple of the balls he's missed have been at the end of frames, already won.
31.
Just about room for the pink.
32. 39. 40.
'That was a gorgeous little shot, beautifully struck. As all
47.
professionals do, to leave the red over the middle. As reserve, it doesn't look like missing at the moment. Concerning
48.
times for Neil Robertson right now.
$55.
Heavy scoring throughout. Superb 1-3-4 total clearance, put him 2-1 in front. Of course, Robertson responded with a 1-3-5 to tie it up at the interval, but it's Zhou who's held sway since then. He's cueing beautifully, he looks confident. It's as though he's been able to completely block out his previous travails
63.
against his opponent this evening.
He's just given Neil a glimmer of hope in this frame by landing straight on that last black. He didn't want to be taking this red this early. It's not a done deal, this frame. And it's gone half wrong,
64.
so, as I say, Neil will still be interested here. All right, it'd be a massive ask, I accept that, but he shouldn't have given himself this problem.
And that expression tells you that he knows that. He's going to need another red to make it safe. 75 still available to Robertson.
$69.
But if he can pot this red, his opponent will need 2 snookers. No problem.
70.
What an excellent performance this has been so far from the former world amateur champion and World Cup winner and 3 times ranking finalist. Right from the get-go, he's looked outstanding from the moment that Robertson missed a tricky
75.
red when queuing close to the side rail. He stepped in with 80. He might have won the second. Robertson did well with a half century to level. But at the moment, he's being outplayed.
$76. 83. H4. $91. $92. $99.
For his second century of the evening. That's a pity, but another outstanding break from Zhou Yuelong, who's really piling on the pressure to Neil Robertson now. 2 clear for the first time. The 3 times UK champion is in trouble. He trails 4 frames to 2.
Frame 7. Neil Robertson to break.
Frame 7, a very big frame for Neil Robertson. 3 down with 4 to play would be a big ask, even if he was at the top of his game. And as we know, this season he hasn't been.
This is a risk into the back of these reds. This can easily go wrong. Okay, he's not too bad. If you were right-handed in Neil's height, you might be able to reach this, but not with the left.
Touching ball.
Yeah, so that solves this problem. It's a simple up behind yellow with the cue ball. But you might need the spider.
Oh, the swan neck.
I'm sure Joe Perry will obviously give Neil Robertson the best advice. Joe's been round the block more times than most in this game, and he knows what's required. He knows what he should and shouldn't be doing as a professional. But just to touch on, if Joe's going to give him advice, which he will do, rule number 1 for me would be, at the start of each season, you play in every tournament. End of story. I wouldn't want to hear all this, I want a break, I want this. When you've got a 3-month break, as it is, when the season gets underway, you play in them all. That's the way the tour is structured these days, with the Players' Series race. Yes, you can have success, all those things are all fantastic, and yeah, have your break, and then it's back to business.
Robertson has actually conceded himself that at the start of last season when he opted to take an extended break. It actually did disrupt him, and he never quite caught up. And that's where maybe one or two of the problems began. Never quite hit his stride in the way he normally would last season, albeit that he made 3 semi-finals. But a ranking title eluded him, and this season, of course, the results have been much thinner than that. Just 4 wins in ranking events and nothing better than the second round in any of them.
Yeah, but not to play in the first 3 events of that last season is, let me just say, it's not a good decision, in my opinion. Neil's his own man. He can do what he likes. That's absolutely fine. If I was advising a player, regardless of ability and standing and titles and all that stuff, are you a snooker player? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then you play in tournaments. End of story. That might sound a wee bit hard-nosed, but I was brought up that kind of way in the game, and you take your time off and then you get back on it as soon as possible. And you love doing it as well. That's the other thing about it. Yeah, it's not a dig at Neil. It's not a credit. It's not that. It's any player. If you enjoy doing it, which they all do, then keep at it as much as you can. And strike while the iron's hot. And it's been very hot, as we know, for Neil down the years.
Foul. Neil Robertson, 7.
Okay, the catch in the green has left Neil a shot that he can't refuse. Long red to left corner. And it feels important right now that he knocks this in.
He hasn't actually attempted too many long pots this evening, just 4, of which he's converted just the 1. It's normally such a strength of his. But he's under a lot of pressure now. His opponent is playing so well that he knows any mistakes are going to be magnified.
The blue might actually help him here. Just the tiniest trace of left-hand side. Massive shot in this match. Oh, has he left the impossible gap? Surely not.
He was some way off with that, it must be said.
Oh, he's away again.
What a terrific pot that is. Neil Robertson has made the point this season that he has been running into players playing at the top of their game, and this is another example. A player that's really struggled against him in their previous 3 meetings, hasn't got close. Tonight is a very different story.
Five. Six.
Yeah, things are getting very serious now for Neil Robertson in this match. Another fabulous chance for Zhou Yuelong. He's looked so secure in this close tonight. And he looks calm, that's the other thing. He's not going to flinch at the winning line. It doesn't appear that way.
13.
And I'm sure that as Robertson watches on,
21.
looking increasingly concerned, Zhang Anda's heroics this season have been a real incentive for his compatriots.
22.
Zhang has transformed himself from a journeyman into a champion and a top 16 player. He's going to be at the Masters with one outstanding run at the English Open, backed up by triumph in Tianjin at the International Championship. Out of nowhere, really. Zhou Yuelong must be thinking, well, if Zhang can do it, I certainly can. Zhou has had a much more consistent career to date than Zhang had had before this season.
It's almost the only critique I could have of Zhou Yuelong tonight. He's left himself this straight black, or wrong side of straight, too often. Yeah, he's not bad. The red to right middle's a decent option.
29.
He's going to have to recycle this little contribution here because he was perfect a couple of shots ago, not now. Yeah, nice
30.
recovery again. A good example, actually, of what I was talking about a minute ago about players being active. Judd Trump won in Brentwood the English Open a couple of months ago, and I was stood in studio with him that evening, standing there with the crystalware. And there was a decision to be made, actually. Do I have the week off and not go out to Wuhan? What did he do? He jumped on the plane, he got there the following day. 7 and a bit days later, he was standing there with another trophy. That's the point.
And then shortly after that, another one. 3 on the bounce.
33.
Just the 5th player to win 3 ranking titles in a row, Trump. He's made 5 finals this season. And of course, in the wake of his maiden World Championship, won 11 ranking titles in 2 seasons, including 6 in a single campaign, which is also a record. This is the red that Robertson missed
39.
in the previous frame.
Yeah,
40.
can you imagine? I mean, I was going to mention someone, Judd's brother Jack, the quietest, nicest big fella you could meet, but can you imagine Judd saying to him, look, I don't want to really go. No, we go to win. That's the way you've got to be. And as I say, I'm not. It's not about Neil Robertson. It's about any
47.
player. But anyway, back to business. And Zhou Yuelong has been fantastic tonight. His cue ball
48.
has been superb, and he looks as cool as you want to be.
$55. 56.
We've seen some top performances this week. We saw a masterclass in all departments
61.
last night from Mark Selby. But this has been as good from Zhou Yuelong. Yes,
62.
Robertson's out of form, but he's still playing one of the modern greats of the game. One of only 11 players to have won all 3 Triple Crown titles. 6 in all for Robertson. 3 of them at the UK, and yet Zhou Yuelong, who couldn't buy a frame against his opponent this evening in his previous 3 meetings,
69.
is bossing him right now. And it's much more to do with Zhou's excellence than it is Robertson's errors, which, okay, there've been a couple, but it's been ruthless snooker from this man. And the only question now is
77.
whether he can maintain this to win the hardest frame of all, the one that will carry him to round 2 and a meeting with John Higgins.
$85. $86.
Just missed out on a century in the previous frame by 1 pot.
$93. $94.
This for century number 197 for his career. Brilliant stuff from Zhou Yuelong.
101.
Immaculate snooker. Even Neil Robertson at his
102.
very best would have struggled to handle this guy this evening.
$109.
Even I think some of the Barbican crowd seem a bit shocked by what they're seeing here. They're seeing a class act, a class operator near his very best. Mesmerising stuff by Zhou Yuelong.
114.
It's one-way traffic at the moment.
$180.
Just 19 points since the interval for Neil Robertson. It's been complete monopoly from his opponent.
123. 129.
And how about that to finish? Half a pocket to aim at, but it doesn't make any difference for Zhou Yuelong. He's seeing it like a football, and he's outplaying Neil Robertson. 3 frames on the bounce since the interval. He's on the cusp at 5-2.
It was Neil, no doubt, going out, just, you know, wash the hands, have a good look in the mirror and think, right, OK, what can I do to somehow turn the tide of this match?
Well, you've got to think whatever he does, he's going to need a drop-off from his opponent, who at the moment is playing out of his skin. Zhou Yuelong in supreme form, thoroughly deserving his 5-2 lead. Now it's a case of converting that into victory. 3 up with 4 to play.
Straight away, a half chance for Zhou Yuelong. Yes, it's a very tough pot. Only other thing Neil can cling on to a wee bit here is maybe, just maybe, Zhou Yuelong will tighten up now that the winning line is not that far in the distance. Oh, he's got away with one, has he? Yes, he has.
Yeah, we're right.
They've quickly agreed that they want to restart the frame. Just to bring you up to date with developments on table 2. 5-4 Tepchara. Rob Milkins has just made his 2nd century of the evening to keep his hopes alive. It's been a fantastic match. It always promised to be high-octane stuff over there, and it's certainly not disappointed. Tepchara currently 38 in front in the frame he needs to win. Robertson disappointed to come to the table there and find there was nothing doing. So we go again in frame number 8.
Thank you, frame 8. Zhou Yuelong to break.
Much more like it. And this time the good news is he's on the brown, he's nicely on it too. The way this match has been, I know Zhou Yuelong has dominated it, but the fact that both players look really good close in. 5-2 is not a massive lead. I know it kind of should be, but 1 or 2 mistakes from Zhou Yuelong and a couple of pieces of inspiration like that red from Neil. And it's far from done.
We've already seen bigger deficits than this overturned this week, of course.
5.
On the same night, 5-1s turned into 6-5 victories. Tom Ford, Jamie Clark.
6.
Robertson, of course, has that ability to reel off frames if he can get on a roll. And he hasn't played poorly this evening. He's just been outplayed by an inspired opponent.
$13, $14. $21. $22. Make sure you stay still when the player is facing you. Thank you. 29.
Would you believe he could miss a red like that? He's laughing, but he doesn't find it amusing.
29.
That's an astonishing miss.
Yep.
Robertson perplexed by that error.
One.
It's a combination of the season he's had and the quality of his opponent's snooker that's put him under so much pressure this evening.
Yeah, it's also the sort of miss that only happens when you're out of match, Nick. It's as simple as that. Concentration's a funny thing. You can't really try to concentrate. It happens naturally through the process of playing match after match and tournament after tournament. If you have 4 or 5 months off at any given time, it takes a while to get back into the rhythm of it.
9.
See, it's not even, it's almost not even a miss. It's just not been in the match habit as much as anything. Now Zhou Yuelong
16.
looking for a nice angle. Get these reds in the open. See, Zhou Yuelong having come through qualifying.
17.
And he's having a decent season. Anytime he's got in amongst them, you know, the concentration side of it, which is a big thing, it's happening naturally because he's used to playing matches under pressure, but it's happening so just naturally. Now the split has gone wrong. He's on nothing apart from a red to yellow pocket that is a
24.
very difficult proposition.
He could easily have gone out in qualifying in both of his matches. He was 4-2 down to Hamid Mir and 5-3 down to Ian Burns. So you have to show a lot of mettle as well as skill to get over the line and set up this clash with Robertson. But But he's been in front throughout this evening.
Yeah, this is where I spoke earlier in the match about he's a good match player, this boy. He'll not be interested in the pot here. It's an easy bring the red into the open. He knows that one more good chance and he should win. So keep Neil pinned back. That's the move to make.
Zhou Yuelong, 24.
It's another terrific pot, and there have been a lot of them this evening from Zhou Yuelong. Already got him for the 99 break for 4-2, was beautifully struck. There's another example. He has not flinched this evening. He's made a mockery of the idea that you can be scarred mentally by previous drubbings at the hand of your opponent. It's as though he's never played Robertson before. Remember, he'd won 3 frames out of 24 coming into this evening's match with Robertson.
6.
Bodes well, doesn't it? He's clearly made of strong stuff between the ears. Up 9-0 defeat in the European Masters final. Could have really hurt him for a long time, but I'm sure from his point of view, it's just part of the learning curve in this sport. You've got to take some knocks before you can
11.
really find your level. Toughens you up.
Nothing onto this left corner, but I did spot the 2 reds to left middle. They're an absolute guaranteed plant. There they are. They look nailed on. Whether he plays it, we'll see, but they look a certainty.
12.
And he might have to play it now, being straight in this black. He'll see it, but will he play it? Yeah, he's seeing it now. Surely. He's got to see the plan. Surely it looks a good thing to left middle. Yeah, there's another there, but he hasn't spotted it. There's the alternative. To make the plan easy, he's got to get straight on it. Oh, he has. He's as good as you. He could not have played that better. What would
90.
not be an easy plan is now. It's not a certainty, but he should get this because he's nearly straight.
Things are looking pretty grim for Neil Robertson at the moment.
0.5.
He missed the easy red at the start of this frame, which rather encapsulates his season. It's been one of great
0.6.
frustration. He admitted in the build-up to this tournament that he has been shocked by his results because he feels that on the practice table anyway, his game is in as good a shape as ever. But clearly some confidence has drained away with only 4 ranking event wins all season.
33.
And it doesn't look as though he's going to embellish that record tonight, the way things are going. But you've got to
34.
take your hat off to Zhou Yuelong. He has played one of the matches of his career this evening.
$41.
36 in front. This is match ball.
$42.
And it's a very satisfying victory for Zhou Yuelong if he now goes on to seal the deal. He's been on the wrong end of it in a big way against Robertson in the past. But he has made amends in spectacular fashion this evening.
$49.
And that
50.
absolutely ends the match in Zhou Yuelong's favour. It's a third consecutive first-round loss at the UK Championship for the 3-times champion.
56.
Yeah, brilliant performance. And Neil will be back, as I said at the top of this match. It will happen, because he's too good for it not to happen. But it's not going to be soon.
59.
And, well, let's be honest, it's Zhou Yuelong's night. He's been the man, it's, as you say, pretty much the performance of a career. Been a sensational
63.
from start to finish. And Zhou Yuelong against John Higgins is not to be missed, because John Higgins played beautifully earlier on.
68.
This UK Championship is bubbling up beautifully.
$74.
What a display. Magnificent, Zhou Yuelong. Neil Robertson's troublesome season continues. His snooker year is over without a title for the first time since 2006. But the night belongs to Zhou Yuelong. He has been quite magnificent. Surely he's never played better than that. He's beaten Neil Robertson and he's beaten him soundly. The 3-times UK champion has gone. Zhou Yuelong marches on to the round of 16 and a meeting with John Higgins.
And now I've caught my breath, Jimmy White. That was an absolutely first-class match from Zhou Yuelong.
He played absolutely fantastic. From the first frame, Neil Robertson went into the pack, didn't get on a red, missed a sort of quite a difficult shot. Zhou Yuelong made an 80. Neil levelled it up with 1 each, played a great shot to get the last red out. Then Zhou Yuelong had that superb 1-3-4. Then Neil Robertson had a total clearance. So now it's 2 each. But from that moment on, Zhou Yuelong played fantastic stuff. And it's only mirrored by Robertson's, you know, he's not been winning lately, but it wouldn't have made any difference because Zhou Yuelong was the far better player on the night.
Zhou, it was fantastic. Alan McManus said performance of your career. Did it feel like it?
Yeah, I just not missed. I think just missed 2 shots, and I win every frame and once just 80, 70. Yeah, fantastic.
Not just your pot success at the UK Championship and against Neil Robertson. It was an amazing performance. Did you feel good going into it?
Yes. Yeah, you know, I think in a membership, I've never been near in the ranking even. I remember 2 years ago I lost the semi-final to Neil. I think 6-2 and the one-time final. So, yeah, Neil is my big opponent. He every time stopped me. So, at this time I just want to do my best, and I so love this venue. So, also people is watching is feel good.
I think it was the Championship League. It was during lockdown in Milton Keynes. I think you hit 4 back-to-back centuries, I think, in that particular match. And I remember thinking, this guy is special. Could this maybe be the tournament where we see you just take off?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you need, in the tournament, you need like very stable, like every time, every day and every match you need, yeah, good talent, like it can be win.
Tonight, you played him 3 times and you've lost.
Yeah.
Right, against Neil Robertson. Tonight, the first frame, you made an 80 break.
Yeah.
And I think from that moment on, you settled. And Neil Robertson didn't play bad. You played well. You know, you deserved that victory. And if you carry on like that, who knows?
Yeah.
And just finally, what does success look like for you now in this tournament?
I just, I don't know next opponent. I don't know. So because I know Nia is my big, like no enemy, like big opponent. I really hard to win.
Almost bogeyman, we might say.
Yeah, just I not think about after Nia. Just think about this because you know I'm qualified. I'm 1-4 down and 3-5 down. I'm nearly not in here, so I'm lucky here. So I just want to, yeah, enjoy every shot. Yeah.
So I've got good news and bad news. The good news is, really good news, you've beaten Neil Robertson at the UK Championship and had the performance of a career. Bad news is, John Higgins next.
Okay. Yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's my older. I like to play John Higgins.
Okay, your idol.
Yeah, idol. Yeah, because when I so young, I first watched tournament, and I always Mark Williams, John Higgins, and Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan. So it's my idol. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. We'll pass that on to him if we speak to him beforehand. What a performance, Zhou Yuelong. Massive congratulations. The next time we see this guy, we'll be in round 2. Let's just remind ourselves of some of the incredible shots that Zhou produced because, Jimmy, they were fantastic.
No, superb. You know, his safety play was good. This shot, you had no choice. You had to go for that shot. Yeah. And Neil Robertson refused that shot. He had the same shot and he played safe. Once that gone in, and good brown, you got up for the red. This was a double for the century. Yeah. You know, it's all fantastic stuff from start to finish.
This is an important shot. Yeah.
Absolutely, you know, you can if you miss that, you're leaving a lot. So yeah, it was a great shot.
It really was a brilliant shot. Did you learn anything about yourself being out there?
I just learned safety more because I see the match before. Sometimes I can make break and I can win. But if you not break, and always lost. But because I cannot control the opponent, so yeah, if your opponent have good talent, I cannot stop him. So I think safety is more important. Like when you feel your opponent have the good talent and the good, and you need safety to control to make his stop.
Joe, massive congratulations, a worthy winner. And as Jimmy White said, it wasn't Neil played badly, it was you played incredibly well, but he had to beat somebody, and that man was Neil Robertson. So let's hear what he said to this one with Rachel.
Commiserations, Neil, at a time when you're really looking for some good results for Zhou Yuelong just to play like that and a performance of his career ultimately.
Yeah, but that's what I've been facing all season, players playing like that. So, yeah, you know, I take it as a compliment, I suppose, that players know that they have to kind of play at that level. I think, you know, for many years now that I haven't lost many matches playing poorly. You know, players have had to like play really, really well, and yeah, that was the case again. Just, you know, there's been plenty of other matches where both players really struggling, but you know, this wasn't really one of them. I think the red I missed in the last frame, I was trying to like sort of pinch the pocket across to cannon the red to play on the pink. Couldn't really play on the blue or anything, so. That was the only kind of really obvious error I had in the match. I mean, I know I missed. There was a chance at 2 each to go 3-2 up when I played a sort of like a blind pocket red, rolling it in for the yellow, But other than that, I can't really, I can't really fault anything I did in terms of like the application was very good. Good clearance to go 1-1, and then he made a total clearance and I made a total clearance. But yeah, after the interval, I did very little wrong. He played outstanding. That was that was top class snooker, and it's easy to say, but if he plays anything like that for the rest of the tournament, you can go a long way in winning it. Obviously, probably one thing that's probably prevented him from doing that over the years is that at the later stages he seems to kind of not really find that kind of form. So but I hope for his sake he can, because he's a fantastic player, and nothing but full compliments. I can't really fault too much of my game today.
Yeah, and listen, you're such a good player. I mean, these big results will come again, and for you personally and snooker, I know that you've been chatting about having a little break. What is next for Neil?
This is my last tournament for until the Masters, so I'm going to miss the next few events, which is a shame. But being overseas player from Australia, you got to make these decisions to put the family first for a change, and I think that going back home for nearly a month will be really, really good. Be the first time that all of us can actually get out there. Penelope's not been to Australia since she was born, so I get to see my brothers for the first time for 4.5 years. It's a long time, so I think that when you see how much people struggled during COVID, not seeing their loved ones for 6 months, I've been doing it for 4.5 years. So I'm really looking forward to going home, resetting. I'm really happy with my game. Everything's fine. I just need people to not play like that, which they've been doing all season. So it's very frustrating. If I could hit them over the head with my cue, I'd love to, but I'd lose the match. So it's just, snooker's one of those tough sports. When your opponent's at the table, there's nothing you can do. I've been there myself when I've been, my opponents haven't really participated much in matches, and that's just how it's been going this season. Honestly, I've really done very little wrong all season. My opponents have been playing great. So to all my opponents, can you stop doing that, please?
Or you get a whack on the head with a cue. Neil, I hope you have a really lovely time, a great break, and I think well deserved listening to you, because I know it's been really challenging not seeing your family, and we'll see you back at the Masters at Ali Pali.
All right, cheers. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I really appreciated the honesty in that interview there. Obviously, Jimmy, he's absolutely gutted.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate the situation, so he's number 6 in the world, but actually, in terms of the one-year rankings, that isn't the case when all the points come off.
Absolutely. The worst scenario for him is that he might have to qualify for the World Championship. Who wants to draw him in and qualify, you know? But that could be the situation, but that doesn't mean that he won't qualify for Sheffield. But, where he's honest there is because Zhou Yuelong did play fantastic. As I said, it's just mirrored because he's not been winning, he's not been getting any results. But, you can't take it away from Zhou Yuelong. As Alan said, and Phil in commentary, he was just fantastic.
Isn't it bonkers how quickly you can go from a top 10 player in the world looking like you can win any event to all of a sudden, like you say, potentially having to qualify for the Worlds, a man of his stature?
Well, the other match that's still going on, that's on Discovery Plus, Rob Milkins has gone from nowhere to all of a sudden he's in the Masters. That's just incredible. So it works both ways. You can be up there, like Neil Robertson's won a tournament every year for I don't know, 15 years or something. And then all of a sudden now he's struggling to stay in the top 16.
Right, he's now changed his coach to Joe Perry. They're very good friends. They live together, although he's alluding to having to go back to Australia, prioritising family. We understand why. From your end, is there something missing? Does he need to change anything?
Not at all. I think I'm glad he's got Joe Perry. He'll be back. He's far too good. He's just having a slump at the moment and people are playing well against him. But tonight, once again, you can't take anything away from Joe. He played superb.
One other question is, he mentioned he's going to miss tournaments for 2 reasons. So one is because he's going back to Australia, but number 2 is because by virtue of that one-year ranking, he misses tournaments. Is he a momentum player who needs tournaments to kind of get his eye in?
Yeah, he's the type of player that, gets in, sort of bullies the table, scores heavy, puts the opponent on the back foot. But he's decided to do that. As he said in COVID, he's not seen his family for 4.5 years. He's made arrangements. He's not playing in the shootout. He's not playing in the home nations in Scotland. So he's going to go home and regroup, come back for the Welsh, for the Masters, then the Welsh, and hopefully qualify for Sheffield if he has to.
Now, when Jimmy White slots into an answer that you can watch a match available on Discovery+.